YouTube. It's been a while. I thought I would fire this back up. I've been working this afternoon, and I was like, I haven't filmed a YouTube video for a good while. I've been documenting the kind of the process and journey. I'm trying to chase the 2:45 marathon, which has been going well. There's been some ups and downs of the training block, like there is with most people's, but I've been really enjoying the process of trying to attack the right training zones, the right heart rate, the right paces, as well as trying to manage a business and coach my clients in and around that. So the process has been good, really enjoying it at the moment, and I find definitely when you come to the later stages of your marathon prep, it's become so much more psychological as well as the physical. So last week I did a 2x10k session, which I was holding marathon pace for the 10k efforts, and I had a kind of 2k recovery between what I'd been set to do. So I managed to kind of hit those paces. I was around 352 to 355, which is in and around a 2:45 marathon pace, and my heart rate was around 160 to 167. I think it was in and around those numbers. There's a little bit of a range off the top of my head, which I had consistency across the first 10k and the second 10k, which was a massive confidence booster. I think I banked 27k in total, and it made me kind of, I don't know, it just gave me a massive boost in morale and confidence to that I could actually hold it. I know that's only for 20k of what I've done out of the 40k, but 42k, but it was a massive kind of boost for myself, most importantly, and it just made a difference mentally. I was like, right, I can actually hold that pace for 20k. I didn't blow up. My heart rate stayed under 170, and I felt pretty comfortable at that pace. So I'm into my last 3 weeks of marathon prep until Seville, which is 15th of Feb, and I've definitely had like a couple of niggles along the way through the block. So I had an issue with my foot. I don't know where I was just building up, or I landed funny when I was running. I was having some kind of shooting pain through the kind of the middle toe going into the foot, which I went to physio, got that sorted, went through some kind of toe and foot exercises which seemed to help and sort that out, which that's been at bay.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, we will not. There we go. It's not listening to me now. So I pretty much was making sure I did everything I needed to kind of rebuild and make sure that's okay, and just managing the volume as I could. But I've also had kind of work trips in and around training for this event, as a lot of people, especially the professionals I coach, they've got work events, travel, family, you name it, they've got things in between. So it's really important for me to actually kind of experience that to a degree. So I travelled out to Dubai, which was a pretty cool place to visit. I went to see some friends over there. I went to do like a week's of work out there, and then also went and saw a client in Bahrain. So that was another flight across, which was only an hour, which we did the Bahrain half. I ended up doing, I think it was 119.50 something off the top of my head, just under sub 120, which was interesting, definitely. I tried to hold back a little bit as I was going out. I won't lie, my ego got the better of me a little bit, because I was like, I can push more, but that wasn't the idea of it. I tried to pull back a little bit. The warmer weather throughout the race, my heart rate started to rise and build, but I still kind of managed to stick in and around where I wanted to, which was a massive positive. At the moment, I have been building out something really cool. It's a 12-month health and performance program, so we take care of health, performance, lifestyle, endurance, and it's been lots of work putting it together, which is called PEAKHUMAN. So the idea is, for the individuals that I've coached and what I've seen, when they come to me preparing for kind of their events, whether it's half marathon, 10Ks, 70.3s, as well as the training and nutrition, which is like, that's a thing you should provide as a really good standard anyhow. The biggest thing I see is setting their week up for success, like how they can actually put themselves in a better place to adhere to the program, get the best results, and actually start to enjoy the process of their training without them sort of chasing their tail, get to the back end of the week, not being able to stick to the sessions, or sessions are climbed on top of each other because work's taken over. So I've really built it out thinking about that human first approach, and it's really driven by data, as well as obviously looking after the person in front of me, which is the client. So we've gone from like ground zero, so full testing, full audit of training, nutrition, lifestyle, pretty much calendar management. We're looking at everything, so nothing gets missed. And I've pretty much said to a guy, Josh, I coached the other day, the best way to explain it is it's almost a performance operating system for yourself that you can use year round. So we go through our different phases and cycles of training, obviously, but we start with something called 0 week. And 0 week is pretty much testing, auditing everything I've just mentioned, and we use that data from the assessments to build out that training plan and also build it around their week. So the days that they are going to have most time to train and the best days to train for them, and really build it around their schedule and weekend, making sure if they're traveling for work, we adjust and adapt to them. We don't want the plan to fit. We don't want them to have to fit to the plan, we want the plan to fit to them pretty much. So we've really built out kind of a health performance endurance system across 12 months with distinct phases, and one phase leads to the next, as well as building a back-end education, given kind of nutrition plug and play frameworks they can use. Again, it's so simple, and that works for me. I think the simpler is so much better because you can adhere to things better, it's easier to stick to it, as I say, and you don't feel too overwhelmed, which when I've been following kind of plans and sessions before, if it's like completely too much, it just blows my brain, and trying to fit that around running a business, having a bit of a social life, and making it fit around your lifestyle is really key. So that's come from my experiences of training and what I would want to have as a user and experience, as well as the feedback from all the clients I coach. So I've been rolling it out. I've just onboarded 2 new people. So today I'm going to be onboarding Jason, and then also Callum, which we had an hour and 20 call yesterday, talking all through things kind of endurance training, nutrition, and it's a huge passion of mine. Like, I live and breathe this stuff, and as I said to Callum on the call yesterday, what I do is never about striving for perfection. It's about just building something that's aligned to you. So whether your performance, so for me, I'm trying to run a 2:45 marathon. That's sort of my mission and focus, and I'm going to try attack it in Seville. But the process of what I'm doing day to day that's the most important thing to me. Yes, I'm going to try, I will get that time at some point, whether that's Seville, whether that's another marathon down the line, but it's who you become in the process of following those steps. It's like when I did a couple of my 70.3s, the time, energy, effort you put in, it's the standards and habits you build that really last long term for yourself, as well as the medal you get, the crossing the finish line, the adrenaline you get. That's amazing, as you know, if you do endurance based events. But I think it's really important to look at the human first and make sure not when you finish the event, you don't just fall off the edge of a cliff and you don't do anything to a degree. So my approach across this year and going forward is just all about health performance endurance 365 days a year. So that's something pretty exciting that's now released, which I'm buzzing about. I'm pretty much going to be filming a 5-part series as well to run through all of these points I just ran through that a lot of people struggle with, and I think if I can give back some 5 to 10 minute snippets of each video of what I recommend and what works for me, myself, and the clients I coach who are in the exact same position as you, it's going to make a massive difference. And I think adding that value back, one, just means a lot to me, but also can put people in a better position to really make the progress that they deserve to have and that they can have. Because it's very much a case of, let's say you're preparing for a marathon, and obviously you have your sessions that you have your easy runs, long runs, your tempos, intervals, all the rest of it. That's important, but what's most important is why are we having that session at that point leading to that phase? Because it's anybody, people go AI generated plans, people can write their own plans, they may have ones that they can dig up from years ago. That's the sessions, there's only so many times you reinvent the wheel with sessions, but the biggest thing for me is the phase and the kind of sequencing of when you put them in the right spot so you get the best bang for buck, and making sure you're actually hitting the zones needed. So even a lot of time for the marathon, and I struggled with this for a good period, genuinely did. This is hold my hands up for this. Obviously everyone says your zone 2, which is super important, you need that zone 2 base obviously, but then you need to run in the zone into the right stimulus that you're going to be racing, right? So if you're running a marathon, majority of the time you're going to be in a zone 3 heart rate, zone 3 pace. What I did a lot of the time was trying to go for maybe a zone 3 pace, but my heart rate's in zone 4, not too far of going into zone 5, like I'm way above threshold, and that's where you kind of burn yourself out when you're coming into the back end of the race. Obviously fueling is a big part of it, but if you're going into those real high heart rate zones, it's going to be a pain. And that's something I've learned the hard way in some of the marathons I've done. So I've definitely learned that a lot, making sure, right, why am I in this phase? What does this then lead? What's the point of this session, and how is it actually impacting the next few weeks to come? Because everything's in a process, and if you can really dial in on those smaller details, that's going to give you so much more better bang for buck. Obviously there's a massive rabbit hole you can go down with this, which I'm going to, because one, it's a massive passion of mine and it's what I do day to day. I live and breathe it with my work. So I'll be documenting kind of some of the people that I've coached. So for example, Jack, who I've coached through, well over a year now, we started with just a process of wanting to build his 5k up to a marathon, and he's PB'd across all of those, ran ultras, and he's actually going to be taking on an event called Work Week with myself and another group of people this year. But his process, he was training really hard, managing career, uni degree, you name it. He was running off a pretty tight schedule. And for me, what stands out is when we actually applied the right structure and frameworks to him and built it to him, like he just transcended, like genuinely. It wasn't a case of adding loads more volume or doing more. It was making sure we're hitting the right intensity at the right point at the right time. Then you build the volume up gradually, rather than going kind of 0 to 100. The niggles come in, strength and conditioning might not be in line with what you're doing, and that's when you're chasing your tail a little bit and you're in this cycle. And one of the big things we talk about is making sure you fuel and recover to the intensity of training you do. So if you're somebody that's on the go trying to prepare for endurance-based events, look after your body, look good, feel good, and perform at your best, what you're going to find is if work ramps up, naturally you put yourself on the back burner. You're like back end, you're back up your sessions to the end of the week, you try to catch up and do double days, and then from that point what you're seeing is back-to-back sessions you're trying to cram in, even to injuries, niggles. Naturally, the busier you get, you're eating on the go, you've got too much kind of decision fatigue of what to go for, and it's kind of grab and go, and not always the most nutritious, which genuinely that's something you learn, and you need to build your own system and framework that works for you. Again, what works for me won't work for you, and vice versa. So it's important to make a point of that. But if you can align your endurance training, your strength and conditioning, your lifestyle, calendar management, and your nutrition, you genuinely will put yourself in a better place. You'll probably start to enjoy the process a lot more, and you won't kind of feel you are just chasing your tail at the end of every week. And it's very easy it could be very easy for me to sit here as a coach and say, right, you need to go train this many times a week, but your time availability is only maybe 3 to 4 sessions, and it's about catering to that and not just saying, yeah, that's all good, but do that, but then you've got 6 sessions to go follow. It's like, it's not the purpose, it's not the point. And this is the big thing, like with week 0 when people come on board, make sure everything's audited, everything's tested, and we've got regular testing throughout, so we know exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and we know the direction we're going, most importantly. But that's just a bit of an insight into what I've been doing across the PEAKHUMAN program. And I'm actually in the process at the moment, when this video comes out, it'll probably be released, so I can show you actually, if I get this up. 2 seconds. We shall get there. So if you cross, there we go. So I'm going to quickly just show you, we've pretty much been building a bit of an education process out. So I've created a kind of free mini course you can go through. It's literally what I just spoke about, to be honest with you. It's called Performance by Design, which is a big thing I like to focus on. So we're going to look at how you can build your week to set your schedule up for kind of automatic success in terms of your week, your training, your nutrition, lifestyle, work, commitments, social commitments, performance-based session that drive progress. These are some examples. Obviously, ideally you want it bespoke to you and your needs. Nutrition by design, so some simple kind of repeatable systems to fuel your body, hit your goals, and then the subtle art recovery. So that's just some different checklists and plug and play systems you can use to fit around your week, and kind of 5 to 8 minute videos to go watch. And then obviously this is for all my kind of private clients I work with one-to-one, phase 1, 2, 3, 4 that they go through, which is education process of what they can actually do to get the next stage of their performance. And it's things that they can implement and learn along the way, because one, it's obviously important I provide my service coaching and program for them, but it's also important that they learn the reason behind it and the education behind it, so they actually understand what's coming. And that's something I really like to do with the people I work with, is give them that education as well as as I would call it, white glove service, everything done for them, built for them around their schedule and calendar. It's quite an in-depth thing we do, but being able to understand how to fuel and actually having a bit of a process that they can build to themselves is really key. And that's the difference between having some sort of good success, some good results, and really absolutely sending it and getting some great results. So yeah, something really passionate about I'm working out at the moment, and I'm working on myself as always. But that's a little rundown at the moment. We've obviously got Seville coming up. Work's been building up as well. We're also going to be taking some trips out to America in April, which I'm going to be coaching and also doing the event, which is called Work Week. So it's 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 different disciplines, which is going to be mega. And I'm going to try and release some more content on that, which would be brilliant to go through. But that's a bit of an update from myself with what's happening, and also a few nuggets in there for you to use. That's going to actually help you push that next stage of performance across your health, lifestyle, training, endurance, and also nutrition. So I'm going to add this actually in the link today, because the Performance by Design course you can literally go in and use. It's completely free. It's just going to be in the school community. So if you click the link below, you have access to go through. There's nothing to sell here. You can literally go through and take a little look of how I do things. The big thing for me is making sure I add impact and really help somebody, even if there's one person watching this, and leave you in a better place. See you in the next one.